Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Massive news, Declan Rice has rejected 2 contract offers from West Ham United. That's according to journalist Matt Law. Earlier this morning, about half an hour ago, he put up an article claiming that Declan Rice has rejected 2 contract offers from the Hammers. And then just before I start recording this, Jacob Steinberg has confirmed what Matt Law is reporting is correct, and that Declan has indeed turned down 2 new contract offers. So let's just take it as true, because to be fair, Matt Law and Jacob Steinberg, I think, are both reliable for West Ham news. In the bank of Geo, they got a bit of credit. I like to dismiss 95% of rumours, because 95% of rumours are, of course, not true. They don't lead anywhere. But there might be something in this one, and that's what we're going to discuss, because 2 days ago, Matt Law did an article. It was on a podcast about Chelsea. He basically went through the Chelsea transfer rumours, if you like, or what he thinks is true at the time. And one of the parts was that Declan Rice was being valued at 70 million by Chelsea, but West Ham went 100 million, so something was going to have to happen in order for Rice to go to Chelsea. But he felt that Chelsea want Declan, and Declan obviously wouldn't mind going back to Stamford Bridge. And that was that. And he got a little bit of stick for it, if you like, on social media, as you would for stuff like that. So he's almost followed up with this today, that Declan Rice turned down 2 contract offers from West Ham. And I can only imagine that he knew this news when he did the podcast about Rice being interested in Chelsea, because he would have thought, well, I've got a little bit of reasoning why I think he would want to go there, kind of thing. So Declan has apparently turned down 2 contracts with West Ham, and I'm pretty calm about it, to be honest with you. I can understand why a lot of people would panic, because it's not good news, is it? It's not good news. But I think when you remove the emotion from it, and you look at it logically, I do think there's nothing to be worried about too much, because what's the worst case scenario here? The absolute worst case scenario is Declan Rice wishes to go. He wishes to go to Chelsea or Man United, because Matt Law in his article claimed that this has alerted Man U and Chelsea. But Chelsea's obviously the number 1 destination where we all expect him to end up at some point. And that's why I see this as the very worst case scenario is Declan Rice does actually wish to go back to Chelsea to compete for the title, so on and so forth. Okay, we know he wants to go at some point. I'd be surprised if it was this summer. I think getting the Europa League might have been enough to keep him here for a further year, and I still do think that. I still don't expect him to go this summer, but I do expect him to go at some point. He's made it no secret that he wishes to go on and win trophies. He's never said he wants to leave West Ham, quite the opposite. He always says he loves being at West Ham, so on and so forth. He's looking forward to next season. He's always talking about the future as a West Ham United player, but he has also said that he wants to win trophies, and to do that he is going to have to leave West Ham. And I know a lot of people say, well, why can't we compete and stuff, because the trophies Declan Rice is referring to isn't the FA Cup or the League Cup, which of course we can compete for, and even the Europa League next season, should we get the recruitment correct. But we won't compete for the Premier League title, we won't compete for the Champions League, and that's what Declan wants to be winning. He wants to be winning those. He wants to be winning the Euro Championships this summer, the World Cup next year. That is what Declan Rice wants to win. And why shouldn't he want to win those things? If anything, I find it quite refreshing that a footballer is prioritising success in terms of medals and trophies over money. And perhaps that's what he's done by rejecting these contracts, should it be true. Because we've seen in the past, Marko Navic, Dimitri Payet, where players sign a new deal, take money and get a signing on bonus, an increase in wages, and then 6 months later depart the club anyway. So we've paid them more money to go and do what they wanted. Maybe Declan is just saying, I don't need a new deal because I wish to leave at some point in the future, and it wouldn't be right to commit to West Ham. It wouldn't be right to take more money from West Ham where my intention is to leave. Like, all this is my own opinion, by the way. I'm not saying this is what Declan's thinking. I don't know. I don't even know if this is true. It's the reports. I'm discussing the reports. Declan is, of course, he's got a long-term deal with West Ham still, up until the summer of 2024, so he's still got 3 years, plus the club have an option to extend that by a further 12 months as well. So it's essentially, it's a 4-year deal he's still got on the table at West Ham. He's still at West Ham till 2025 on paper. So there's no rush from signing a new deal. There's no rush for West Ham to get him signing a new contract. And if he's rejected 2, I almost think that's a good thing. I think it's almost better than rejecting 1. If he's rejected the first one, and we've gone back with the second one, it would suggest that we feel the offer wasn't good enough and that he will eventually sign a new and improved contract. I know that sounds awkward, but you know what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is the first one, if he had no intention of ever signing a new deal at West Ham, we probably wouldn't have gone back with the second one. But we have done, he's rejected that as well. And why would you sign it? Because let's just assume we gave him a contract offer towards the end of last season, when he's sort of, not standing captain, but sort of standing captain, isn't he? He's captain for most games now, but Martin Noble's still the club captain. This time next year, he is the club captain. Even after this summer, right now, even in a month's time, he will have played at Euro 20 and performed fantastically well. His stock is rising as we speak. It rose against Germany, it'll probably rise again after Ukraine. His value in football, his value to West Ham is increasing every game he plays, essentially. So when he rejected that deal to today, he's probably worth more than what he was back then. So I'm relatively calm about this because he's handled everything magnificently. I think while we all know his footballing ability on the pitch, and I think a lot more people are realising, and also him and Calvin Phillips have just killed it for England in the centre midfield in Germany for four games at Euros, but particularly against Germany as well. He played 80 minutes on a booking, Declan Rice, against the Real Madrid and Bayern Munich midfielder, with a Bayern Munich and Chelsea player in sort of the number 10 role around these four opponents for 80 minutes on the yellow card, and he was magnificent. He was still putting in the tackles, he was disciplined, he was composed, and you could tell how much he loved it. His stock is only getting better. But when he's playing at this level, when he is competing against the likes of Toni Kroos, of course there's going to be a bit of him that thinks, I should be doing this week in, week out, I should be playing Champions League football here. Why wouldn't he? We discovered that with Dimitri Payet when Slaven Bilic spoke about the reason for Dimitri Payet's departure. And Slav very much pointed to when Dimitri went away with France. He said he was away playing with France with players who've just won the title, who are playing in the Champions League every week. They've won the Champions League. Dimitri Payet's playing for West Ham. But it is going to be a bit of him that wanted to go. He wanted to go and play for a better club. Of course, that never happened because he ended up joining Marseille. Although saying that, he still qualified for a European final. But there's going to be a little bit of that with the likes of Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice and Jack Grealish. Why would they not sit there looking around the dressing room, looking at the players that have won medals, are competing for medals week in, week out? That's where they want to be as a footballer. So anyway, back to the story. Declan Rice rejected 2 contracts with West Ham. It's not great news if it's true, is it? But at the same time, I don't think it's that bad. I think when you remove the emotion from it and you look at it logically, we all expect Declan to go at some point. I think 90% of West Ham fans are almost resigned to losing him one day, whether it's this summer or next summer. I think most expect him to stay for another year now that we're in European football. Without the European football, I think we'd again expect him to go. My only worry about this summer is with Chelsea, that is, they've not spent any money yet. Most clubs haven't, but I'm not really seeing them linked with a big signing. They're linked with a striker. They're expected to spend big on a striker perhaps, but that's it. And I do think, well, does that mean where are they going to spend their transfer money then? If Tammy Abraham leaves for 45 million to Aston Villa as expected, that's a lot of money to spend on a replacement for Abraham or in another part of the pitch, and that's where defensive midfielder comes in, because you look at how they were lining up towards the end of the season, and the defensive midfielder is probably a player they could do with, actually, because Jorginho just isn't fancy. Conte, is doing well and is back in the team kind of thing, but too often Mason Mount is having to play deeper in midfield, so on and so forth. So I think Declan would suit Chelsea. I think he is what Chelsea need, and the fact that they are not rumoured to be going after spend big on a left back or a winger or anything like that, because they don't need to. When you look at their team, they don't need to spend big on any of those positions. Defensive midfield is probably, or centre midfield is probably the one position they could do with upgrading. And Declan's shown for West Ham last season, he's improved his game massively. I keep saying defensive midfield, he's not a defensive midfielder anymore, he's more box to box. But what he has shown for England in the Euros is, while I've adapted my game with West Ham and I get forward a little bit more and I'm joining the attacks and I'm pushing into the final third of the game, what he's showing is, just like that, he can switch from a box-to-box midfielder to defensive midfielder again. And when I say like that, he's literally done it like that. He finished the season playing for West Ham, covering every blade of grass, and for England, he's protecting that back 3 or 4, depending on what formation they play at the time. But Rice is sitting in there doing the job he used to do for West Ham, and he's doing it superbly as well. You're not just buying... Declan Rice isn't just one position, is he? the amount of roles he can play in centre midfield. You put him in paper in the middle of the pitch, centre midfield, but the amount of roles he can play in there, the different styles he can play, is increasing. And he's not just managing to do it, he's absolutely smashing in every position as well. He's my Hammer of the Year, and that's with him in a new role, what he's had to learn during the season as well. But there you go, that's the rumours anyway from Matt Law and Jacob Steinberg that Declan Rice has rejected 2 contracts from West Ham United. Obviously we'll discuss this in another video. I'd imagine this is not the last we've heard of it, let's put it like that. The only thing I will say, and this is away from West Ham, I think it's badly timed. Declan's got a massive game on Saturday for England. England's got a massive game. And it just feels like this is the type of information, should Matt Law know this, clearly he does, it didn't need to come out today. They could have waited until England was out of the Euros or had won the Euros, however you think it's going to go. But next Sunday is the final, so there's 9-10 days until the Euros come to an end. Did it have to come out today? I just feel like it's a massive distraction now for Declan that it wasn't really required, actually. And like I said, Matt Law and Jacob Steinberg, I think they've got credit in the bank when it comes to reporting on West Ham. I just think this one was a little bit unnecessary, if you like, detrimental to Declan Rice and England to some extent. So I don't think it needed to come out now, and it's not quite as bad as what the media have done in the past to other England players. I'm not trying to compare it to that, but it always just seems to be something to try and that has to disrupt the England team to some extent, and I shouldn't care, clearly. Come on, Ukraine. But being serious though, I just think I will give Jacob Steinberg has only reacted to Matt Law's thing. Okay, so Jacob Steinberg knew, he was keeping it quiet. I do think Matt Law, perhaps, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, having never spoken to him in my life, doesn't even know who Amish Chat is. I will give him the benefit of the doubt in the sense that I think he knew this yesterday or the day before when he did the podcast about Chelsea's transfers. I think he knew this information, did the Declan Rice thing and got a bit of blowback for it. Oh yeah, like, why are you saying that, blah blah. And I think he probably thought, well, I actually know that Rice has turned down 2 deals, which would probably give my rumour that Rice wants to go to Chelsea a bit more credit, and I feel he's almost been pushed to put it out to some extent. I think it could have waited, personally. But anyway, I'm going to disappear now. We'll have the England preview tonight. Myself and Gonzo are doing the England-Ukraine preview ahead of Euros, the semi-final Saturday night. That'll be up on the channel tonight. I wasn't going to do a video today on West Ham, but some things break and you've just got to react to it. So that's my reaction. I'm pretty calm about it in theory, because what's the worst that can happen? If you listen to Matt Law a couple of days ago, West Ham are demanding 100 million for Declan Rice. It's not a bad set of money if we do have to sell him. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, and leave your comments below. I'll be reading your comments to this video because I'm at the computer for the next couple of hours, so I'll be keeping an eye on what you're saying and stuff, and having a little chit chat with some of you. I'll catch you in a bit.